I'm here at the Farmington, New Mexico City Hall CPAC meeting. It's Caliber. I'm gonna go join the Farmington, New Mexico CPAC meeting at City Hall here. Redress my grievances. Let's see. The street media. Appreciate you guys doing that. How's the live, y'all? I know sometimes they have signal blockers, especially when the cops come in. How's the live? Does the live look good? Oh no, they'll let me in. How's the live, y'all? You guys put a 1 in the chat. If the live's good, or if it's choppy, put a 2. Thank you. You guys hit the thumbs up. Appreciate it. Sonia G. Everlasting DNA. Carol. Yeah, it's open, right?
Yep, I'll go meet you at that door.
Okay. That's Andrea Jones. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, they don't like it when I come in. You can tell on their expression on their face, their body language.
On in.
Nice and cool in here.
It is. It's nice.
Yeah.
But it's about to get turned off. All right. Right in there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. About red flag laws.
Okay.
He brought it up, so I was like, okay.
How you doing?
If he wants to do it, then good. Here, I'm sorry, I'm kind of in the way.
Hey, excuse me. How's the live, y'all? Good about this small TV. Let me put you guys down for a while.
How are you? I am well. How are you doing? Good. How are you? Still mad at me.
So, wasn't it Aztec Pacific, right?
It's still separate with managing. Management agreement right now. And then hopefully we can.
That's a big deal.
Confiscated the.
You got a little office there, okay? Did you do that at school?
Walked out of the house, got in the car and drove here and realized I have.
Oh.
I know.
Did you need it back half real quick?
Nice to meet you.
Good.
Tracy.
Hello.
Thank you guys for joining in. About 65 minutes. Thank you, October.
I know. I still have
Chief head right there. He's a chief. Unconstitutional. You guys are all unconstitutional. Internal investigator supervisor. Jack Smith.
5:31, we have a quorum. Shall we get started?
Okay,
Okay, first item on the agenda is approval of minutes from July 18th, 2023 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review them? Yes. And so I entertain a motion to approve. I so move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Police chief's report. Chief Heavy.
Good evening. Thank you all for being here again. It's hard to believe it's already September. The year is really flying by. We'll be in 2024 before you know it. Probably the biggest news recently for us has been the governor's order and what that potentially could mean for departments across the state. The initial order applied to Berlin County, and in those jurisdictions down there, we're weighing in on it. As you know, I'm president of the Chiefs Association, so I did weigh in on it from the association's perspective. I'm not brutally opposed to what the governor's intent is in trying to bring some conversation on the subject, and I think she did spark some of that. But I hated the way it was implemented. I hated there was no discussion of this with law enforcement personnel. There were other things we could have done, and that was some of what I was talking about in the video. But mostly what we could have done was kind of talk and okay, what directions can we go that would make a difference? Gun crime in New Mexico is bad. It has been a priority for us here every year in the last 2 years. The department's goals have been twofold. One is gun crimes and really doing a good focus on gun crimes to include trying to get cases taken into the federal system where they get much more severe punishment. And then secondly is traffic, which is a big complaint for citizens. So that's even here in Farmington, and our numbers are not what you see down there. The concern with the public health order is severalfold. First of all, it's a heck of a stretch to all of a sudden that the governor herself is the one who decides what's the metric that then kicks this emergency in. And if that's the case, then just like with the public health during the COVID, then that means the governor or her staff is the ones that set the next metric, which means it could have been us, it could be Haas, it could be whatever, whatever metric they pick, and you have no input on it, and there's no discussion on it. And then to go to the extreme, which then even she says would really materially affect the matter, and that's the banning of legal citizens from carrying a firearm in public, either concealed carry or open carry. And you acknowledge that wouldn't make a difference to the criminals that are doing it. That's just a bad look, and isn't going to do anything other than cause a lot of controversy, which it did. What I'll give her is it also triggered a lot of other conversations. And so I heard from the Attorney General, he wants to do some things, as you know. He issued a letter saying that he would not support what the governor's action was, that he believed it was unconstitutional. But he reached out to me, he wanted to hear from the chiefs. So he's actually hosting a summit next Tuesday down in Albuquerque, which I'll be going to, and some of the other chiefs will, to talk about what are some things we can do, short of that extreme measure. And then I heard from Congresswoman Ledger Fernandez yesterday. And so even at the national level, there was some interest in discussions again from law enforcement's perspective, what are some things that we could do that would make a difference, short of the suspension of civil rights for whatever time period that would be. It was controversial for the department, and so that's a little bit of the downside of maybe the President Chiefs Association is because I'm also now bringing Farmington into the limelight on matters that I'm speaking about from the state. So I try to be a little delicate on that, but this was a big one, and so you're going to have to say something. But you can see some of the critics on the right were that we weren't going far enough. That we should be actually trying to arrest the governor. It's not my jurisdiction, and I view myself as having broad jurisdiction, but I can't go all the way down the Santa Fe and start arresting people. And then, B, it's one thing to violate the Constitution by an act, but that's what the courts are for, and that's what several parties did. They went to court, and the judge blocked it. the left's perspective, and we received some criticism from the left, was, you know, I should be quiet and kind of follow the order and let's see what the data shows. And, you know, then I'm afraid it will work. Well, you know, so I should be quiet and just follow an order that we believe violates the Constitution to see if it works. You know, what if it does work? Then we're just gonna keep doing it. And, you know, my guess is that in any really autocratic state, there isn't a lot of street level crime. You know, there's probably more corruption and stuff behind the scenes, but you probably can suppress by just wrongly arresting people. You can probably suppress a fair amount of street level crime. So I'm not really interested in the results of it. Is it legal how we got here, and then what do we see? So I'm pleased that, you know, the Congresswoman and the Attorney General were interested in a discussion on things that we could maybe do. I think there are things that we can do that would make a difference and be legal. So that was probably the biggest one, and that'll probably carry on over the next few weeks, it appears, as we continue to grapple with it. It should be noted, you know, I don't think there's anything, I don't know that they caught the guy that shot the 11-year-old down there yet. So I don't know if they know the circumstances to know a solution to what that one was. So more in general, what we're talking about is how do we overall fix the problem of misuse of guns, which arguably it is bad in New Mexico, and it is bad up here. And so we've got to be a little more innovative, and that involves communication and talking and, okay, what can we do together, and then what can we do the state to help us fund? I'm all in on those conversations, and, you know, we'll see over the next couple of weeks how those go. With our numbers, we have 10 folks still in training in FDO. They're just going into their third phase. My, you know, guesstimate is it'll be early November, and we'll have a sizable number of those loose. There may be a couple that hang on into the first holiday there in November. So I'm not concerned really with the pace with which we're going. You know, probably what I'm concerned with now is, okay, what are we looking like for the next academy that will start in December? And then just, if you continue on the pace we've been, which is a minimum of 10 over the last 3 academies, now maybe, you know, if we do another 10 or 11 in December, and that's 40 new officers we brought on board. Not all of them make it through the training and things, but it really reflects a very young patrol force, mostly, that they go into patrol, and the more senior guys go into detectives and some of the others. And so there's lots of additional training you gotta do to get those folks, you know, up to speed and get some of the experience that we're losing, as we go along. So, you know, the second component of having so many young folks that you're training is we're burning our FTOs out with just one cycle after another of bing, 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 three recruits every time, train. So you really can't do that forever. We've had some conversations about, you know, ways we could lessen some of that impact. And some of it is bringing back some of the more senior folks to the street for a little while to relieve and do some of the training and give some of the other FTOs a break. But it's a significant issue for us. On the other hand, we gotta keep hiring. And we seem to be doing a good job of that. You know, I think the struggle is always on the back end. How well are we retaining, and the folks that we're retaining, do they get what we're wanting in the field? Do they get what the job is? And so that's gonna be an every 2-month discussion for us here. And that's certainly our biggest challenge. So that's kind of the majority of my report, other than, you know, we're doing things like increased traffic enforcement. We used a couple of our officers to do that. We ran a detail targeting racers last weekend, and we'll do it again this weekend. That'll be, you know, something we'll be talking to the next chief about, probably self, as racing has got a long history in Farmington. We'll do our best to kind of subdue it a little bit, but probably never cure it. I think it's somewhat cultural here. But we issued a bunch of citations, and we'll continue chasing that around. So other than that, I'm open to questions. Patricia said her husband saw me on TV. So I imagine some of you did too.
What would be the oldest candidate in training? I mean, how old are they?
69 is older than we usually would take. But we've had some in their late 40s, and a couple in their early 50s.
Yeah.
The biggest challenge for that group seems to be the technology is so, you know, it's so prevalent in the job today. Everything from the laptop to, you know, how the research calls, how they get called. That can be the biggest challenge, would be for me, and frankly, to go back on the street now with all the technology that they have in their face. The cameras, you know, which we didn't have when I was Scotland, but they've got. But we'll take them, up through the 50s if they wanna come in, and we have hired a few, we've had some success with that.
I'm only 65, so.
Yes, you're in.
What
If
are
you
our,
can, if you can do the wall and the run, right?
I can do the run. What are the numbers right now?
I think we are at 101, that are
That's low.
full cut straight, yeah. And then we've got 10 in the academy, and we've got 10 in FTO.
So how many are we low?
Still another 14, 15 by that metric.
You've kind of carried that though, right? Is that pretty?
Yes.
low?
You know, it's easier to carry that when I don't have 20 in training. You know, when I have 7 in training, you know, that number is much more manageable for us. That's been really our biggest challenge is, yeah, I got a pretty good gap on the back end of not filled. Those aren't as concerning, it's the 20 that are in training. You know, so that really means my cut loose officers, then throw in a number of them are hurt, right? One was shot, one was almost run over this year. I've got a couple others on light duty, and all of a sudden you're actually deployable number far more concerning for us.
Any other questions?
No questions, just a comment. You did some recruiting efforts over at the Boys and Girls Club this summer with ice cream. Maybe a few years down the line that will transition into,
I actually missed it, you gave them ice cream.
you can never have too much ice cream.
Yeah, I was driving by, it was a hot day, I saw all the kids up there, I thought, you know what, so I ran up to the store and bought a whole bunch of ice cream, so I was short a little bit, which was disappointing for some of the kids, but then I get there, I start handing ice cream out, and they'd just eaten ice cream.
Oh.
So they kind
They
of
just-
shoving in one ice cream bar and grabbing my ice cream bar, but
Yeah, but they were eating the ice cream with the wooden spoon type ice cream from us. They got the good stuff.
Yes. it's the ice cream sandwiches, so. yeah,
Are there
that's-
any upcoming events?
We have our national night out, which is October 3rd.
Okay, I thought there was.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is a Tuesday, so very good point. You know, all of you are welcome to come.
The club will be there with teams doing crafts
When-
again.
Good. Very
What
good.
time and where?
4 to 7 at Bird Park.
And what day is that?
It's a Tuesday, October 3rd.
I thought it was coming up, but I
Yeah.
can't remember.
No, that's very good.
Anything else? All right, thank you, chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lost my agenda. Next on the agenda, internal affairs report.
I think it's scheduled for me, but, since we've had turnover and Lieutenant Smith's over internal affairs now, she's had a few months to observe, so she's stepping up today.
This was by her request.
Yeah.
I thought so, Tamara, so.
Well, good evening, everyone. We appreciate you coming as always. So the last couple of months have shown a little more change for us again in internal affairs. Last meeting that we had, you all got to meet Sergeant Rachel DeSenza. She was temporarily assigned to us for the period while Sergeant Mosley was at polygraph school. Sergeant Mosley has just returned from polygraph school. He's not here tonight. He had a personal matter to attend to, but he is back with internal affairs. And so with that, Sergeant Rachel DeSenza is no longer with us. She's been reassigned to a different division. We enjoyed having her. She did a lot of good work for us. And so we were grateful for her assistance during that time. The division has been completing the required trainings for everyone to keep on track with certifications from the state. So I think everyone in my division has actually completed the online portion, and we just have some of the practical courses left that haven't been assigned. So that's good for our division as well. And everyone in the department in the leadership capacity has been doing leadership training. And again, my division is on track with all of those trainings. So that's going well for us also. We had a couple of significant uses of force during time period. One of them, ended with 2 officers going to the hospital. One was significantly injured, he ended up with surgery from that incident. And the other one was treated and released, but had some lingering side effects of that. And so when Sergeant Sitton gives you the report, you'll see that accounts for a significant number of our applications of force for the month of August. And with that, I'll call Sergeant Squirrel, Sergeant Sitton up to report the numbers.
All right. I'll go first with, internal affairs report. Everybody have that? All right, so looking at the numbers for, 2022 for July, and then we'll look at August as well. So comparing 2022 to 23, for citizen complaints in 22, we had 2, and then this year we didn't have any as far as citizen complaints go. And last year, the complaints were for unbecoming conduct, courtesy, identification. And out of those, 2 allegations were exonerated and 1 was sustained. And again, this year, for July, we didn't have any citizen complaints. For internal investigations, we had 2 last year and 5 this year. Last year, 2 of them, actually both were for operating department vehicles, and those were both sustained allegations. And then this year, 2 of them was use of department equipment, 3 violation of rules, and 1 unsatisfactory performance. Out of those, 2 allegations were exonerated, 3 was sustained, and 1 was an unfounded allegation. And then moving on to the inquiries, corrective action, and disciplinary action. Last year, there were 5, and this year there were 6. As far as allegations last year, they were for 1 for departmental reports, 3 for court appearance, 1 for social media, 1 for special weapons and tactics teams, 1 for reporting for duty, and 1 allegation of unsatisfactory performance, and all 8 of those were sustained. This year, out of the 6, you had 4 allegations of court appearance, 2 allegations of unsatisfactory performance, and 1 allegation of insubordination. 2 were exonerated and 5 were sustained. We move on to August. Last year, we had 3 citizen complaints, and we didn't have any citizen complaints this year in August. Last year, those allegations were 2 for courtesy, 1 for use of force, 2 for mobile data computers, 1 for abuse of position, 1 for dissemination of information, and 1 was for unsatisfactory performance. Out of those 8 allegations, 4 were exonerated and 4 were sustained. And then moving on to internal investigations, last year, for August, we didn't have any. For this year, there was 1 internal complaint, and that was for unbecoming conduct. And that investigation is still going through the approval process, so it's still pending. As far as the inquiries and disciplinary action, last August we had 1, and that was for court appearance, and that was sustained. This year we've had 6. 2 were for court appearance, 1 for unsatisfactory performance, 1 for mutual respect, 1 for departmental reports, and 1 allegation of violation of rules. 2 of those allegations were exonerated and 6 were sustained.
Actually, quick question. Couple of them. Give me an example of the use of department equipment as a complaint or whatever. Well, yeah, just roughly.
I'm trying to think, I can't think, I don't remember that specific case, but it could be as simple as, using equipment the way it wasn't meant to be used, or they damaged equipment that shouldn't damage. Say I was on a call, and I go to my car and I put my radio on the hood and I drive off and run over the radio, that would be an allegation of departmental equipment.
social media?
That is posting something on social media that's against basically our policy. Either posting something about a case you may have encountered, posting something unprofessional in nature, that would fall.
And mutual respect.
That's basically two officers who get into some sort of altercation, whether typically verbal,
Yeah.
and they're
Sure.
talking about each other.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Good evening, this is my first time here, so I'm Michael Sitton Sergeant. We recently assigned the use of force. So for use of force, July 2022 and 2023, we actually had the same amount of use of force incidents for last year of 11 and this year 11 as well, and the same number of officers utilizing force of 16 during that. Our actual applications of force are slightly up to 20 from this year, from 17 from last year, just meaning that they had to use, that officer probably used force twice instead of once. All his application is they tried a different technique. Going down the list, so resolved utilizing OC spray, we had one incident of this year, we had 0 last year. Last year they utilized the taser once in July, this year we have not had to utilize the taser. For injuries, we have 3 officers injured in July for slightly minor injuries. The ones that Lieutenant Smith spoke of were from an August incident. And then suspect injuries are down to minor moderate injuries, and then we have 1 stop stick deployment. For August of this year, use of force incidents is, although it rose from last year from 6 to 9, that's still less than what July had of 11. The total number of officers utilizing force is 17 on those 9 incidents. 5 of those officers were involved in that 1 incident where 2 officers were injured. Total applications of force are 26, which is up from 11 of last year, and again, most of that correlates directly to that 1 incident. Resolved using unarmed arrest techniques, we had 9 last year and 8 this year. Taser, we had 1 deployment last year, 1 deployment this year. And then the K9 actually was not utilized this year, that was a typographical error on my end. We've had 1 motor vehicle pursuit this year. Officer injuries, we had 1 last year and 2 this year. Suspects, we had, with injuries, we had 1 with moderate injuries last year, and we have 2 this year.
That was easy.
Any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
So, we do this every couple of months, we look at 2 months worth of data, the numbers go up, the numbers go down a little bit. And sometimes that's important, but usually it's what do we see as a trajectory? Over the span of a year, what are the trends that we're seeing? Are we seeing that we're using more force at higher levels? And if so, then we need to be asking, why are we doing that? Are we using taser more, or are we using pepper spray more than we have previously? So we look for the bigger trends and then try and interpret what that means. Are we doing something with our training? Is it having younger sergeants? Is that impacting it? Is it having younger officers? Is that impacting it? So, when you see it's 11 and then it's down to 9, yeah, that's a little decline. Last year it was down to 6, but it's more that big trend that we're trying to see. And what does that mean to us? And then do we react to it?
Yeah, makes sense.
It looks like the majority is unarmed arrest techniques.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like taser is armed, right?
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, OC spray is armed.
So unarmed is.
Everything
hands
except
on.
hands.
Hands on.
And we've talked a little bit that, through the last several years, we've been doing a better job of keeping things kind of de-escalated to the point we can get other officers on scene. When we get other officers on scene, that generally means the level of force we have to use is less. What was a concerning trend, though, was in some of our shootings, we were actually getting multiple officers on scene, which theoretically was supposed to be suppressing the amount of force we would wind up, and yet we were still in shootings. The suspect would still open up on multiple officers. You obviously saw that on May 15th, when I had 5 officers approaching and he opened fire. So those are some of the bigger trends that we're trying to watch. Okay, what does that mean if we're getting more officers like we've been traditionally thinking is a good thing, and then we're still having to use a significant amount of force. But by and large, the numbers do prove out. We're usually using unarmed techniques, empty hands, soft empty hand techniques, when I have multiple officers on scene. So we're still doing a good job of that.
It's refreshing to see citizens' complaints are down.
I know, I
2
saw
months
that
ago
too.
with no citizen complaints.
Yeah.
With as young as the forces is
Yeah.
right now.
And some of the turbulence the department's had this year.
So that is refreshing to see. So, excellent. You did a great job for your first time.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did.
Well done. Plan to come back. I'm not that scary. All right. Any new business? Any other new business? Business from the floor? Any citizens who wish to address? Okay.
I wanna-
Need your name and you're limited to 3 minutes.
My name is Justin Chi. The channel name is Four Corner Fist in the Air. And, I'm here under the Constitution of the United States. It's the supreme law of the United States of America. It supersedes the Articles of Confederation that nations first constitute in 1789, originally comprising 7 articles. It delineates the national frame and constraints of government. And I'm pretty sure you guys know the 5 elements under the First Amendment, right? Steve Hebb,
This
Chief.
is your time to make a statement, sir.
you know the 5 elements under the First Amendment?
This is your time to make a statement, sir. I'm not answering questions here.
Freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of press, and freedom to assemble and petition our government. I'm an independent journalist that gathers public information for public interest under the Constitution of the United States, which is the First Amendment is constitutionally protected activity. The same United States Constitution that the Farmington, New Mexico Police Department swore an oath to protect and serve the public. But what the San Juan County, Farmington, New Mexico Farmington Police is doing is protecting and serving their own under the thin blue line. Title 4 U.S. Code State Statute 8, Respect for Flag Law and Seal Seat of Government. Chapter 1, the Flag Law G, Regimental Colors, State Flag and organizations or institutional flag are not to be dipped, marked of honor. Brandsburg versus Hayes, 1972, decision that everyone with a camera is news media. Part 13, Reno versus ACLU, 1997, social networks may make everyone into a journalist. Wolf versus California, 2006, FBI versus Wolf. A journalist is defined as someone who brings the news to the public. It's been a little over a year and a half now since I've been exercising my First Amendment right in San Juan County, Farmington, New Mexico. Has been failing at the First Amendment terribly. My channel on YouTube is about accountability and transparency. San Juan County has been violating my constitutional civil rights. The public servants here don't know the 5 points under the First Amendment, which shows that is why they're being unprofessional. It starts with Nate Duckett, Farmington, New Mexico Chief Steve Hebb. The Farmington Police Department have been doing private presentations about my channel and I. Every public servant is involved in the San Juan County. Lieutenant Guy Postlewaite is in charge with holding these private presentations about me. How do I know? Because I have requested all emails about all information. I was informed these public servants were sharing my private information and photos of me. Farmington, New Mexico are using private phones and private accounts to talk about me because they know I request all the public emails. The last complaint I put in with Farmington, New Mexico Police Department was on Devin J. Stearman bullying me out of City Hall, redacting his body camera. Chief Hebb sent me a letter.
Okay, Mr. Chi, your 3 minutes is up. We thank you for your comments. There will be no action taken on any of it today. We do appreciate your comments and we appreciate you being here. Thank you. All right, at this time we need to go to a closed meeting for for, internal affairs review. Okay, so I would entertain a motion to go into closed meeting. I have a first, motion and a second to go into closed meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll go into closed meeting pursuant to section 10-15-1H2 of the municipal code. So, thank you.
Name? What's your name?
Sergeant Travis Sproul.
Scroll. Name and badge number?
680, please go to the lobby.
Name and badge number? Name?
680, go to the lobby.
Sitting, you're the one that came up on our face, right?
Go to the lobby, Mr. Chi. This is a closed session, please go to the lobby.
What are you gonna do? Arrest me? This is how they act. This is a Tim Blue Line tyrant here.
All right, sir.
Here you go, sir.
I'm gonna stay, so if you could come get me, well, great, thanks.
Oh my God. Oh shoot. I forgot my backpack. Is what you can grab it for me?
I'm sorry?
I forgot my backpack.
Sure, I'll go get it.
Thank you.
Where were you in the room?
I was on the furthest, on the east side, on the next to the table. Yeah, didn't feel like 3 minutes, but. Come on, Matthew. You going back in?
Yeah, I'm gonna hang out and wait to see what they meeting. Do you know what internal affairs case they're discussing?
Right on.
Not sure.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just it goes one through one ear and out the other. They, in situations like that, they just turn their head the other way. So, all right, guys, I gotta get down to practice. Appreciate you guys joining. Radiated. Oh yeah. This is like her job. Static. All right, y'all. I'm gonna head on out. I gotta get down to practice. So, keep it Miss JC News Now. Static. 951. News Now. Everlasting DNA. George Day. The side account will be the HBO Matt. Genuine Sterling. Gregory Douglas Fox. Everlasting DNA. Brooklyn Miss. Didn't State Media. Douglas Fox. I forgot you guys in live. Sorry. All right, guys. I'm out.